Welcome, everybody, to SpeakerTunity session number 5, sponsored by SpeakerTunity, the transformational tip sheets that gets you booked on stages, radio shows, podcasts, and virtual summits. And today I am absolutely thrilled to have as my guest, and I'm Jackie Lappin, your host and presenter, as my guest, Debbie Hoffman, who is the follow-up expert par excellence. She's here to teach us how to power up your follow-up and convert more prospects into clients fast without being salesy. Now, Debbie is America's foremost authority on follow-up and founder of the breakthrough training company, Power Up Your Follow-Up. She works closely with entrepreneurs and network marketers who aren't getting enough clients because they're not following up effectively. She helps them create a step-by-step follow-up system for their business so they can convert more prospects into long-term clients without feeling salesy. And Debbie was a successful investment banker for 20 years before she, managing a director for Wall Street firms before she started her own follow-up business. So she's going to tell us a little bit about that today. And so I'm going to switch over to giving her the screen. And first of all, Debbie, welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here with you and all of your guests as well.
So tell us, what promoted you to start this business?
Well, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. I was with a health and wellness company in network marketing for years, and I had a booth at a women's conference, and a woman came up and was interested in the products but wasn't ready to make a decision. So she asked me to follow up with her, which I did for 14 months.
Oh my God.
I know, it's crazy. So how many of you have followed up with somebody for 14 months? It takes perseverance, but there's a secret to why I kept doing that. And so eventually she became a client, and one day she called me because I kept following up with her to see how she was doing, like I do with every new client back then. And one day she said to me, she leaves me a message and said, "Debbie, you need to teach me your follow-up system because I suck at it and you're amazing at it and people need this. It's a struggle that people have and I think you should do something with this." And I thought she was crazy. Like, I had no idea that anybody was struggling with this, and I had no idea that I was doing anything special, to be totally honest with you. And her pointing it out really made all the difference, and I started this business. There were a lot of steps in between, but I just launched the business, and now I'm seeing how right she was, that this is an issue. And we all have a gift, right, Jackie? We all have something that we do so naturally that we take for granted, right?
Yep.
And sometimes we need somebody outside of us pointing it out to us. So that's kind of how it got started. And it was, I wasn't looking for it. It found me, and now it's so my calling and so what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's really exciting. So, how important is it to follow up in growing a business? I mean, it's an obvious question, but most of us just don't do it well.
It is essential. Like, I share with people over and over again that if you don't have a reliable follow-up system in place, you can't maximize your sales potential, your business results. It's just impossible. And so it's a critical piece, and I'm finding that it's the piece that's missing for most entrepreneurs. And I know so many of your clients and people who receive your SpeakerTunity tips are in the transformational space. And I was just talking to a gentleman who is in that space, and he's a coach. And he is so passionate about what he does, but he's not following up. He has no system. He gets referrals. He doesn't call them. He sends an email, forgets to send another one. So he's doing nothing in terms of the systems and the follow-up and the sales process because he doesn't know how to do it. But he's really good when he gets to coach people. That's his genius. So we're going to work together so that I can help him implement and get his message out in a big way and make the impact that he wants to make in the world.
Very cool. Very cool. I have a lot of people in this community, they've always been healers, coaches, etc. They've not been business people. They haven't come from that background. And so follow-up is sort of a foreign language. And so this is a wonderful way to bridge that gap. So what is it, the key to being organized in your business follow-up?
Well, first, I just want to say one thing just to address what you just said, and that is that you can follow up in a way that feels very authentic. And a lot of transformational coaches and healers feel like they're being pushy or salesy. And there's a way to follow up that I coach my clients where you don't ever, ever feel salesy or pushy again. And so I just want to put that out there because that's so important.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, aren't we?
We'll get into that, yeah. So your question was?
Being organized.
Organized.
To have a follow-up system.
Great. So the first step is we all need to have some technology in place, and it's called a customer relationship management system, a CRM. That helps you put everything in one place so you don't have business cards on piles and in baggies and in drawers and then notepads with people's names and numbers, because I hear all the time that people can't find their contacts information, and it's because it's all over the place. So when you have a CRM, everybody's in there. Notes, when you last contacted them, reminders of when to contact them again. So it reminds you and keeps you on track with every single prospect. There is no way that we can possibly keep it all in our head. And the more people we're talking to, the harder it gets. So that's the first step. And then knowing what to do with the CRM, what to say and how often to follow up and what methods of communication, etc. That's where I come in. So I work with my clients to find the right system for them to get started, and then we work together on how to implement the step-by-step plan.
It's different systems for different people then.
Totally. It's not one size fits all. Everyone has different needs. Everyone has different aptitudes. And so I really need to find out what you're looking to do with it, what functionality you need. And if you're very technologically savvy or not, there's some that are more simple than others. And it doesn't take a big investment too. It's, you can get a good CRM for $15, $20 a month.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, and some of them do some really interesting things. Like, as I understand, Infusionsoft, you can take a picture of somebody's business card, and it goes right into the CRM.
Yeah, you have to have special technology to do that, but yes. But most people, when they're starting out in their business, need something a lot more simple than Infusionsoft. That, I hear so many times people say they invested in it too early and they didn't use it and they wasted all that money. So that's why I want to talk to people and find out what they need. And sometimes they need an email marketing system, and they need a CRM, and there are some that combine both. And so I vetted some, and I actually have a document. If any of your listeners want to receive it, they can email me, and I can give my email an hour later, and they can receive this document with some CRMs that I like that are good.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we're Infusionsoft users, but we have a very sophisticated side of our business. And so, but there was a time when that would have been way out of my range. So absolutely glad that you are capable of helping folks. Can you tell our audience the most basic follow-up principles that applies to everyone?
Okay, my whole philosophy is about building relationships and creating value and making it about them. So it's coming from that place of servant leadership. And I'm sure for your audience especially, this will really resonate, because transformational healers and coaches and leaders are all about making a difference and serving other people. So when you come from that place and have that mindset shift around follow-up, that it's not about being salesy or pushy, it's about helping other people and building relationships and providing value at every step of the way, you will never get in trouble.
And so many people, you have to look at it. If you don't provide your service and don't get people to really engage with you, then you're not doing the work in the world that you're supposed to do, and the world is being robbed of your services. And so that's such an important factor. Exactly. Of feeling that it's, what you're doing is in the service of other human beings.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very true. When you're not getting your gifts out and sharing your message, you are doing people a disservice, and follow-up enables you to do that. That's the critical piece that enables you to get your message out and make the impact you're here to make.
Right. So how important are referrals to a growing business?
Oh my gosh. So this is like the missing piece for most entrepreneurs. So I ask, whenever I speak live, I ask the audience to raise their hand if they consistently ask their clients for referrals, and hardly anyone ever raises their hands. And you're sitting on a gold mine, because if you've provided good service or good products and people got value, they love to refer people to you. You just need to know how to ask them properly, the right way to ask, when to ask, and how to train them on what to say on your behalf. So they're saying it in a powerful, impactful way that gets people to lean in. So we can't assume that a client, because they've worked with us, knows what to say. They don't always. So, and referrals, when you get a referral, Jackie, your chances of that person saying yes to you increases by 300%.
Wow.
So the statistics show that on average, and everybody's business is different, like 1 out of 20 people will say yes to working with you. When it comes from, the person comes from a referral, it's 1 out of 6.
Wow.
I know, it's huge. So referrals are so critical, and it's a big part of what I work with my clients on, is how to ask for them. And not only from their clients, but from power partners, who are people who have similar clients as you, but they're not in competition with you. And then from referral partners, which is really everybody else. So we need to train people on how to talk about us and refer people to us.
Well, you know, and it's so true. The last people I actually mind are my existing clients, and I should.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
they love you and they want to help and support you. We just need to ask them and train them and make it easy. That's the thing. People are so busy. We can't expect them to craft an email introduction for us. They don't have the time. We need to give them the language so they know what to say, and make it super easy. Just
Cool.
copy and paste and send it off.
Agreed. You know, the easier we make it for them, the more likely they are to do it.
Exactly, exactly.
So many entrepreneurs network for their business. What's the #1 tip you can share with an audience about how to network more effectively?
Okay, so I touched on this a little bit, but this is really huge when it comes to networking. So the mistake I see most people make, Jackie, is they go to a networking event to sell and get clients. And of course, we all want to get more clients. But when you go from that mindset, people get defensive, because everyone is selling them stuff. And when you approach someone and you're trying to, push your stuff on them, people shut down, they get defensive, and they get repelled by it. So if you go to a networking event to see how you can help people, how you can support them, find out about them first, resist the temptation to talk about you. So even if they ask you first what you do, just say, I'd love to share about me, but I want to hear about you first, and bring it back to them, because the more you learn about them first, the more you can see how you can help them and support them, the more quickly their defenses will come down, their heart will open, and they'll go, oh my God, here's a person who isn't trying to sell me your stuff. She really cares about me. Because people love to talk about themselves. They love to talk. And when you give people an opportunity to do that, their hearts will open, and they're going to want to do everything they can to support you. And in return, they're going to say, tell me about you. How can I help you? So this might sound crazy, but the longer you put off talking about yourself and the less you talk about yourself, the more referrals you'll get and the more clients you'll actually end up getting.
Wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah. The whole mindset shift.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest mistake that you see entrepreneurs make when it comes to the follow-up?
Well, the coming on too strong and talking about themselves too much is definitely one big mistake. The other big mistake that I see is that people have these cards that have been sitting around, and they think if it's been too long that they shouldn't call the person, and too long is different for everyone. But some people tell me they actually throw out the cards, which is like putting a dagger in my heart, like you never want to do that. So the biggest mistake they make is they think that they can't call them because the cards have been around too long. But there is a way to call people that feels natural, that doesn't feel awkward, that you don't feel embarrassed that it's been too long. So that's a huge mistake people make.
Just letting them drift away because you haven't gotten around to it, and then you feel embarrassed and they won't remember you and all of that kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So to go a step further, or the first step really is, the first mistake is people don't follow up with people soon enough. So I recommend within 24 to 48 hours that after meeting someone, you follow up with them. So that's mistake number one. And then the second big mistake is if it's been too long, they feel embarrassed and they don't call or throw out the cards.
Okay, that's a good frame of reference, that 1 to 2 days.
Yeah.
That gives you a pretty good idea.
Because then you're still top of mind for them, and they'll remember you and what you talked about. If you wait too long, first of all, they're not going to think you're serious about your business. They're not going to think, they might think you're doing it as a hobby, and that it's not, that you're not professional, that you're not, serious about what you're doing. You're not passionate about what you offer. So the more you call people and follow up, the more they'll realize that you mean business, that you really have something of value that they need to take a look at.
Well, and one of the things that I always emphasize to folks is it's really imperative to put your picture on your business card.
Yeah.
Because when you get a ton of business cards, half the time you can't remember who was which.
Exactly.
But when you see their face, you can always remember, and that's who I talked to about this particular thing, or it brings it much more to you. So if you're on one of these, for example, I encourage you to not just pick up other people's cards, but make sure your card has your picture on it.
Exactly. And the other thing too is to write notes on the card as you're talking to people so that you'll remember everything that you talked about. Because when you get home and you have all these cards, you can't remember everything. It's just impossible. Or at least get in your car and have a notebook and look at the cards and write down everything that you remembered about that person, and then put all those notes into your CRM. That's critical. And
and when I'm out, I'm looking for both clients and joint venture partners. And so I have to differentiate and make sure that I write JV if it's a JV partner, so I don't try to pitch my product to the JV partner or vice versa.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to create different categories. Yeah, definitely. That's a brilliant idea. That's what I've been recommending to my clients too. I was just at a 3-day event, and there were some people who will be good JV partners. There's some people that were in my raffle. There were some people that will be great clients, and there's some people that are mildly interested. So I have different, envelopes with different things written on them, so I can put everybody in the right place. Because if not, you come home with all these cards. It's just confusing.
Well, and I have a database. I mean, a cheat sheet where I put everybody on so that I can, and from what event I met them at, etc. And I immediately put there what the subject was that or a reminder of who they are, so that 2 weeks later, if it's past my memory, it's there.
Great, awesome, that's good.
So what stops people from doing their follow-up? What are the obstacles?
The biggest issues that I hear over and over again are these limiting beliefs, these like inner gremlins, these limiting beliefs, these stories we make up about follow-up that really, stop people dead in their tracks. And there's the fear of rejection. That's a really big one. People don't like to hear the no. And what I say there is, if you're calling someone in service and trying to help them, and you're not attached to the results of what's going to happen, you're not going to fear rejection, because they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting what you're offering, or the timing, or maybe you didn't do a good job at sharing the benefits of what you offer. So there's a way, there's ways to get over that fear of rejection issue. And then the other thing with which we've touched on is the salesy and pushy. People have this belief that when they're following up with people, they're being salesy and pushy. And that stops them. And so I help people with practical ways to overcome that. And there's also some inner work that we do that helps people to get over that, because it's really a mindset shift. So when you can, switch from feeling you're being salesy and pushy to really knowing that follow-up is all about building relationships, and the more continually you follow up with someone, the deeper the connection will be created. And that you're actually showing up. So just imagine this, what if it was the complete opposite? What if when you followed up with somebody, you were showing them that you really cared about them and you were showing up in service to them? That would create a very different experience of following up, right? Mm-hmm. And it's very different. So I work with my clients on this mindset shift. And if they follow my step-by-step process, they will never feel salesy or pushy ever again.
Can you give us One little tip?
Yeah, so the one thing is, well, there's actually, I might share two. So the first one is to always, again, make it about them, ask questions about them, get very curious and see how you can support them first. Okay, if you're calling somebody after meeting them because you want to tell them about what you do and that's the message you leave, you're not going to create relationship and they're not going to call you back. But if you call them wanting to get together with them to learn more about each other's businesses, to see how you could support each other, they're going to call you back. So always make it about them. That's the key tip. And again, and put what you have to offer in the back burner. And the second thing is always be asking for permission. Never be giving people information unless they've asked for it, or if you've asked for permission to give it. That's a huge part of my entire coaching philosophies every step of the way. And if you ask for permission and they say no, then you don't go on. And then again, you won't feel salesy or pushy if you're always asking for permission.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Before we talk about maybe some free gifts, tell us a little bit about how you work with people and what they come away with when they work with you.
So I have an entry-level program, an introductory program, Power Up Your Sales, that gets people started. And actually, it's a home study program, but twice a year I do it live. And I'm actually starting my next live program September 13th. And so it's a 7-week program, and I take people through all my basic fundamental strategies and philosophies and systems to get people started with follow-up. And it's just full of so much great, juicy information, and people start implementing things right away. And then I have an upper level group program, Mastery of Follow-Up, which takes things even deeper, because a lot of people, it's not just what you say, it's how you're being and how you're showing up. And so people at these networking events, they stand up like a robot and share what they do, and there's no heart and emotion, and they don't get people to lean in. So I really stress a lot in that program about how you're being and how you're showing up. And so we take all of it deeper and we create a step-by-step follow-up blueprint for your business. And there's like 50 scripts and templates in there. So everything's like done for you.
Wow.
And then I work with people one-on-one where we create the step-by-step blueprint as well, but we do it one-on-one. And so what people get out of it is they build tremendous confidence. They're really powerfully sharing what they do in a way that gets people to lean in and want to know more. And they learn how to network more effectively. They learn how to overcome objections that come up in their business. I help them prepare for that. I help them to pre-qualify their prospects better so that they're not wasting time, talking to people, going down the wrong rabbit hole. So those are some of the key things that people walk away with.
Tell us about that program that's upcoming. What's it called, and how long is it, and how people can find out about it?
Okay, thank you. It's Power Up Your Sales, and there is a website, powerupyourfollowup.com/sales. powerupyourfollowup.com/sales. So it's 7 weeks, and we're on the phone every week. We take 1 week off to give people time to catch up in the middle. And it's a webinar training format. And after each call, after the training, we have Q&A, so I open it up for coaching. And then there's 2 Zoom calls, just like this. We meet on Zoom, so everybody's seeing each other. And we dive into people's questions, their challenges, their issues, and I provide laser coaching for people. So there's a lot of time with me. And again, I only do it live twice a year. So if anyone's interested, go to that page and you can learn more about it and join us.
So I'm going to ask you about what free gift you have today. And then if everybody wants to stick around, we'll also take some questions. So tell us about the free gift and how people can connect with you.
Awesome. So I have 2 free gifts today, actually.
Woo.
2 gifts. So the first one is I have a free guide called 4 Action Steps to Increase Sales Fast Without Being Salesy. And there's some great steps that you can take right away just by reading this guide. So it will help you get started. And then every week on Follow-Up Friday, I call it, a short video tip comes out with something that you can implement that week. So it will keep follow-up top of mind, and it will give you an action step that you can take. Cool. So if you'd like to receive this, all you do is take out your phone. I'm going to make it super easy. and go to where you would text. And I'm going to give you a number to text, and I'll repeat it. It's 925-204-2434. 925-204-2434. And then in the subject line, put guide, Guide, and then send. And then it will ask you for your name. It will ask you for your email address, 2434, yep. And then it will show up in your inbox automatically. So this is a really great tool to get you started improving your follow-up. And the second gift I have is if you're really struggling to get clients and you're really looking to take your business to the next level and you want some support and want to learn more about how I work with people and what kind of benefits and results you can expect, I'd love to invite you to sign up for a complimentary session. And during this time, we'll explore like where you want to go with your business, like in your ideal like vision, where you want to be, where you are now currently, and then what's getting in the way, what challenges are getting in the way. And if it's a good fit, we'll talk about how I can support you moving forward. So if you'd like to receive your sign up for this session, just type in session in your phone and my calendar will come up, and then you can choose a time that's convenient for you. And that also will show up at the end of the other sequence as well. So if you've already requested the free guide, it will invite you to a session after that. So those are, and again, this is a system that I use when I'm speaking to have people sign up for things. So it's super simple. So see, these are some of the things I teach my clients how to do as well.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So, Debbie, thank you so much for all that fabulous information. I want to open it up. If anybody has questions, just go to your little Q&A and let us know if you have any questions for Debbie. No? Let's give it a couple more minutes to see if there's anybody that's typing. And if not, then we'll call it a day.
Actually, can I share something that I think is really important that I didn't get to share?
Of course.
And this might give people time to compose their questions. So a lot of times people want to know, like, why am I doing this? Like, what's my why for this? And what I didn't get to share is that, you know, we went through bankruptcy and foreclosure, lost everything. And it was just devastating. And during that time, my son was going to be graduating from college, and we had this dream. I had this dream to take him to Italy for his graduation present. And that wasn't happening because of what was going on with our, you know, financial life. And so that was one dream. And I really wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I had to start looking for a job because things got so bad. And I came this close to getting a job, and it fell through at the last minute. And I wondered then, like, I wonder why this is happening. And now I realize that my story of losing everything, but persevering and tapping back into my follow-up system that I'd already created, which helped me rebuild my business and rebuild my life, was really why this all happened. And now I'm a stand for people holding on to their dreams and never giving up, because I came so close to giving up. And it breaks my heart when I hear entrepreneurs struggling and they don't know that it's the follow-up. They don't know why their business isn't working and they're about to quit and go back to a job. And I just want to make sure that never happens to anybody, because you guys, you know, people are waiting for you. They need your gifts. They're looking for your support, and they're not going to know about you unless you follow up with them. You're going to be the best kept secret. So that's really in my heart, Jackie, about, you know, why I really do this business. Yes, I'm great at follow-up, and yes, I'm great at systems, and I'm very organized, and I coach people how to do that. But this is what really drives me, because I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I've gone back to a Wall Street job. I just can't even imagine.
Wow. That's really, that's a powerful story, sweetie. Very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people can identify with it.
Yeah.
So Marnie has a question. If you've already contacted someone and it feels like they're not interested, how can you call them again without seeming inauthentic?
All right. So see if they just, when you said it seems like they're not interested, you want to actually ask a direct question. So if you met them and they had expressed interest, then when you follow up, you want to remind them of the conversation, what you talked about, and what they were interested in. And if you've been leaving messages and they aren't calling you back, you want to ask in one of the messages, you had mentioned you were interested in XYZ. Is this still the case for you? Is this still something that you're interested in learning more about? And if not, it's okay. Just please give me a heads up so I don't waste your time or mine. So you never want to be, well, let me put it this way. You always want to be clear if someone's interested or not, and asking direct questions is how you're going to find that out. So if you're not clear, you haven't gotten any, if they haven't said, yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not, then you need to ask better questions to uncover that, Marnie, because then you won't waste your time. And if they're not interested, they'll tell you, and make it safe and okay for them to tell you that they're not interested. You have to let them know. If you're not interested, it's totally fine. Just please give me a heads up. Because you energetically are going to keep thinking about that person, that they might be a potential client if they don't say yes or no. You need to know. So just ask them. Be very direct with them in a non-pushy, non-salesy way. And then you'll be clear of what the next step is.
A lot of this is really being thoughtful to the other person and at the same time being honest.
Exactly. Exactly. So I find that people do this dance, like they're never asking the direct question. So if you hadn't spoken to them before and you're calling them to share what you do, you want to share what you do and then ask, is this something that you're interested in learning more about? And they'll say yes or no. So that's how you find out. And if there's another scenario, Marnie, just type it in and then I can respond to that. But I gave you two scenarios, one where they said they were interested and one where you're just calling and you're not sure if they're interested or not. And you're calling to find out.
Are there any other questions that you often get asked that you might want to address?
A big question that comes up over and over again, and I just did a series of webinars, and actually, if your audience would like to listen, there's a replay available for this masterclass that I just did, and it was like an hour of training. And it's the link is powerupyourfollowup.com/masterclass. And it should be ready for you to click on it, and you'll get the replay. And there it is. Yeah. So I'm sorry. What was your question? I just got derailed.
Questions that people often ask you.
Oh yeah. Okay. So on this masterclass, oh my God, junior moment, I call it. On the masterclass, someone asked this question. I hear it over and over and over again. So I have this stack of business cards, and some people I've met 6 months to a year ago. Should I call them? And I addressed that a little bit earlier. And what I said to her was, start calling the people. Well, there's two things. I'll deal with this one first. If you met them a long time ago, you just want to call them and let them know, remind them where you met them, and just call. If there's an elephant in the room, bring it up and just say, I know it's been a long time since we met, but I just came across your card, or I just thought of you today and wanted to reach out and see if we can, get together and see how we can support each other, get to know each other and see how we can support each other's businesses. So that's one thing, one way to get around that. And the second question I hear a lot is, what do I do with this stack of business cards? Like, it's so overwhelming. Like, they're just going to get a CRM because they've listened to my call and I talked about the importance of getting a CRM, but they're like, what do I do? It's so overwhelming. So what I recommend people do is call the people that they met most recently first, and enter them into the CRM, and then call them. Enter the next person in, then call them, and keep working your way back to the people, who you met a long, long time ago. That way it's not overwhelming. Just set aside an hour a day, half hour a day, whatever you can, and start with the most recent people first, because you're going to remember them and they're going to remember you. And then just keep working your way backwards.
That's a great suggestion. I really like that one. So, since I don't think we have any more questions, do you have anything else you'd like to add? And, if there's any other way people want to get a hold of you, or?
Yeah, there's actually one more question I hear a lot, and then I want to share my email address. Actually, maybe I can share that now. So if you want the list of CRMs, or if you want to contact me, just email Debbie, DEBBIE, at powerupyourfollowup. TEBBIE at Power Up Your Follow-Up. So one of the other mistakes I see people make, and that people bring this up a lot, is when they go to networking events, they say, oh, you know, I only take cards from people who I think would be good clients. And that is such a big mistake, because like you mentioned beautifully earlier, Jackie, when you go to networking events, you're looking for JV partners, people to partner up with, and you're looking for clients. So we want those referral sources. So if you like the person and there's an energetic connection, you want to get their card and connect with them later. So people say networking is a waste of time. I go to all these events, and it's because they're not networking properly and effectively. And it's not a waste of time. I built my business through speaking and networking. That's how I built my business.
How many presentations do you figure you do a year?
Live
Yeah.
presentations. I probably speak live 2 or 3 times a month. Every month's different. Yeah. And that's the way I built my business. Almost 100%. I would speak, I would offer something, I'd get in touch with people, connect, have a complimentary session, and they'd enroll in one of my programs. So for all your speakers who are listening today, that is critical. So with the follow-up, when you're speaking, oh, this is a huge thing that we didn't talk about. So the mistake I see speakers make is they speak, they hand out some form for somebody to fill out, and then that's it. Like if somebody signed up for something, they'll obviously process their credit card and deliver whatever they offered, but they're not following up with all these other people. And so when you go to a speaking event, you don't want to just show up to speak and then leave. You want to stay there for the whole event, the whole day, whatever, and build relationships with people. And a perfect example of this is I was at a multi-speaker event a couple years ago. There was, I think, 7 of us, 6 or 7 speakers over 2 days. And I had the most people sign up for my program of anyone. And some of these people were signing up 6 months later because I kept following up with them. So as I was talking to people, I would ask questions to find out if they had a need for what I offer. We would connect. I would ask them lots of questions about them, get to know them. I got their card and I followed up. They didn't necessarily fill out the form, but they ended up becoming clients. And so speakers are preparing for what they're going to say. They practice, they book the gig, they show up, they fly there or drive there, all this energy and time, and then they're not following up, and it all gets wasted, Jackie. So that's, working with speakers is really huge in my heart, because you're doing all this wonderful, you're sharing all this wonderful wisdom, but then you don't have the skills and the step-by-step plan of how to follow up with people.
Well, and when you're selling, when you're at an event, you may have a program that's maybe out of the range of some of the people, but other people are still interested. And you want to grab those people because you never know what you have in your funnel or future opportunity that might be interested. So the more cards you get of people who are potential clients or referrals, the more opportunity you ultimately have. So you need to strategize before you ever get there. It's not just one-on-one, but maybe there's something you offer, something you give away, something that you some contest you do, or something that gets people to actually connect with you.
Exactly. Beautiful point. Because how I just offered the free guide through your phone. When I'm talking to someone, I'll invite them. I'll ask them if they would like to receive some free tips from me and this weekly, this free guide and the weekly tips. I don't say, would you like to join my list? Or that's so boring when people say that. So I give them a reason why. So you're actually, quote unquote, selling your free thing too, because people's inboxes are really full. You want to share with them what the benefit is, what the value is of signing up for your free thing. So I really stress how there are 4 steps that they can take in this guide that will help them grow their business, like immediately, will help them get started. And every week they'll get a tip that they can implement. And I ask them, would you like to receive that? Again, always asking for permission. And if they say yes, I'll say, great, take out your phone. And they do it right then and there. So I don't have to take their card and enter them manually. It's all done through this system.
Very clever. Very clever. And time saving.
There, oh my God, it's the biggest time saver ever. So for all the speakers here, when I share my free guide and offer the session, like if I'm at an event where I can only offer something for free, before I had a form, they check off, send me the free guide, I'd like to schedule a session. I'd have to take pictures of all the forms, send them to my assistant, and then she would have to manually add people to receive the guide. She'd have to send them an email with a link to my complimentary session schedule. And a lot of times people didn't see the link, they didn't see the email, and they didn't schedule. So they requested it, but they never scheduled it. So there was all this time and work and follow-up that had to be done. Now I come home, everybody's signed up for everything. I don't have to do anything.
Wow.
It's automatic. And they get reminders for the complimentary session once they've scheduled. And if they haven't scheduled, they'll actually get an email the next day saying, hey, I see you started the process to request a complimentary session. Here's the link just to remind you. So, and then another email will go out like at the end of the week saying, last chance to sign up for your complimentary session. So it's all done. It's so cool.
Very
excited about this system, as you can tell.
Yeah, I can.
Oh my God. Making life easier. I'm all about making life easier for people and helping them work smarter, not harder, and be more efficient and effective with their follow-up.
And the more time they have taken off of them to do something automated like this, the more time they actually have to do follow-up.
Exactly. And the more time they have to do the things that they love in their life, like I'm finding that entrepreneurs are burnt out. They're working so hard and they're exhausted, and it doesn't have to be this way. I'm here to tell you there's ways to create your systems, to follow up more effectively, and so that it's more, you'll have a consistent flow of clients coming to you, and you don't have to, beat the bushes so hard.
Very cool. Well, Debbie, I think, just checking, no additional questions. So I think this has been an absolutely wonderful SpeakerTunity session. Thank you for your really wonderful and valuable information. This was just delightful, and I really hope that you continue to spread the mission of doing your follow-up, and that our folks can connect with you and find really great value in going forward. So everybody go grab your guide from Debbie, and Debbie, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jackie. It was so much fun. Really appreciate you inviting me into your community. It means a lot to me.
All right, sweetheart. Take care. Thanks again.
Okay, bye for now. Look forward to following up with you soon.